Hey there everybody, Travis Bowman here. I'm a fingerstyle guitar player and retro video game nerd with round 2 of some video game pickups. Now, to be clear, I stole this idea from a fellow YouTuber named Adam Koralik. He has a video series that he does every single month called Playload, where he shows off the cool video game related stuff that he got in his videos. I basically stole this idea from him, although the idea is certainly not anything new. But the reason that I'd like to mention him is because I just had him over at my house and we actually did some video game hunting together. So he'll have that video coming out within the next couple months, I believe. But we did a couple of videos here together that we did on my channel, and it was really kind of a really super cool experience, to be honest. So some of the things that are on the table here I actually got in those videos with Adam, and other things came from other places, most notably from a young lady named Emily, who is my girlfriend. Emily's love language is definitely gift giving, and that will be reflected with all these pickups that we see here in the video. So let's go ahead and get started. First things first, on the PlayStation 5, The Last of Us Part 1. This isn't actually mine, this is Emily's, but I got her this for Christmas. We've been really enjoying this game together. She's a super big fan of the series after watching the show. And the Part 2, from what I understand, is not as popular for various reasons that I won't go into now because of spoilers, but it's been a really, really cool time playing this game, and she really loves it, and I've been digging it a little bit too. So, Last of Us Part 1, it's not mine, it's Emily's. Okay, so something that is mine here, Sackboy, A Big Adventure. So Emily and myself have been really getting into Astrobot, the game of the year, of course, in 2024, and rightly so. If you haven't played Astrobot, you're really missing out, man. It's such a great game and a heavy throwback to games that we used to play back in the day, like Super Mario 64. I've played a little bit of it so far. It's kind of like Astrobot in that regard, of a game that you can just get lost in and just play through the levels and not have to worry about, you know, any extra stuff. It's just a fun platformer, and this is definitely one of those. It's a lot of fun. Really enjoying that. The next game right here, Katamari Damacy Reroll. Or is it Katamari Damacy? I don't really know, to be honest with you. What I do know is that this is an extremely strange video game. It was released on the PlayStation 2, and I actually have a copy of it on the PlayStation 2. And if you own the PlayStation 2, then you must know that some of those games just aren't in great condition anymore. You know, we've come a long way from having, you know, the PlayStation 3 on up to today being Blu-ray discs. PlayStation 2 used DVDs, and unfortunately, they just don't hold up as much as the Blu-ray discs do. I've got a copy of this game on the PlayStation 2 that seems to be in perfect condition. I've tried it on multiple PlayStations. I can get through the first level, and it just kind of hangs and then stalls and quits, which is really disappointing because I was really enjoying that game and I was enjoying showing it to Emily. She was really digging it, and so I felt kind of bad that I had to cut her experience short. So I went ahead and bought a new copy of this, I guess remaster is what you could call it. I don't know if it's a remake, but it's definitely a remaster of Katamari Damacy. Super strange game, man, but it's extremely easy to get into. You use 2 thumbsticks to roll your ball around, and you suck up as many items as you could possibly suck up in a time frame. I know I'm not making it sound like it's a good game, but I promise you it's a great game. So I picked this up so we can enjoy that together. Next on the list, I got this fairly recently, a couple days ago actually. This is Dragon Quest Builders 2. I've played the first one on the PlayStation 4 quite a bit. It's pretty much like Dragon Quest meets Minecraft. Oddly enough, I picked up the first game for Emily for her PlayStation, and I paid like 12 bucks for it. But now when I went to pick this up at the game exchange that I went to, ironically, that game was like $30 for the first one. So I said, okay, fine, I'll grab the second one since it's at a reasonable price. I haven't played it yet, but I hear good things about it. Last PlayStation 4 game on the table is A Way Out, which I got for Christmas from, you guessed it, Emily. So we actually just played through a wonderful co-op game called It Takes Two on the PlayStation 5. I believe it's on Steam as well, but I got it digitally on the PlayStation 5, and what a hell of a cooperative experience. That's actually the first game that she and I completed together, and it took us a couple of weekends to do so, but it was a really, really fun time. You know, it's one of those games that you have to play with another person. You can't just solo it. So, you know, we really kind of had to work together on a lot of stuff, and it's a great game for couples. You've got your significant other and you're into video games, that's a no-brainer. You should definitely play that game together. It's not as challenging as some of the other co-op games out there, but you know, it's kind of puzzle heavy too, so you might be scratching your head a couple of times. We certainly did. But A Way Out, she probably picked this up because she wanted more of that experience. Now, I've heard good things and bad things about this game. I'll let you guys tell me what you think about it. But another Christmas gift from the beautiful Miss Emily. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. While we're on the subject of Christmas gifts, I do have some other ones that Emily got me. She got me a lot of stuff, man. And I got her some cool stuff too, but she completely threw me under the table with all the cool stuff that she got me. And I felt kind of bad to the point where I was like apologizing, like, I'm so sorry that, you know, the gifts I got you and the gifts you got me, they're so far apart as far as the cool factor and everything. But she told me that her gift giving thing is just part of her love language. So, but we'll check out some of the stuff that I got her too very soon. But this is a book on video game stuff. It's the Sega Genesis Secrets. It's a really, really interesting book that tells you pretty much all sorts of different secrets about some select Sega Genesis games. And I'm seeing on the cover here, they've also got a series about Nintendo, Sega Genesis, of course, and the TurboGrafx 16 games. So that's also really, really cool. 1990, I think that's when this book came out. So this is 2 years before I was even born. But we've got some really cool tips and tricks and stuff and some screenshots in this book for stuff like Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, Altered Beast, Phantasy Star 2, Golden Axe, Revenge of Shinobi, Ghouls and Ghosts, Target Earth, Mystic Defender, Budokan, Rambo 3, Space Harrier 2, Truxton, and Populous. So I own a couple of the games in here. And it's really interesting to go through and really kind of take a deep dive. This is what we used to do back in the day. We used to use those strategy guides, man. And I know you can look up all that stuff on the internet now, but it's just really cool to have a physical book in front of you if you want to learn stuff about your video game. I thought that was a really, really nice gift, and I'm actually going to use this, which is also very, very cool. It's not just a novelty. So on to more Christmas gifts that are PlayStation related. I finally managed to secure the Astrobot Controller, a legendary limited edition controller from Sony. And what a great game. What a great controller too, man. This controller is amazing. It's so unique and it's so cool and it's different. You know, on the grips right here, this is actually a metal texture right there. The underside seems to be pretty much the exact same as it was on any of the other PlayStation controllers. Of course, you get the little picture of Astrobot right there. But it's just a super freaking cool controller, man. And it's impossible to get your hands on it these days. That's what you would think, right? But I actually went out of my way and I paid a little bit extra. I paid the scalper tax, if you will, to get my hands on this controller so I could gift it to my girlfriend Emily for Christmas because she loves the game so much. I wish you guys could have seen the look on her face when she opened this up. I nabbed this for her, and when I was gifting her this for Christmas, she actually hooked me up with this first. This is also a really super cool controller. I think it has a name as far as like the color scheme, but it's this purpley greeny type shape controller there with all the different colors and stuff depending on where you're at in the light, and I freaking love it, man. And the thumbsticks are also this really nice, I think, you know, the purple on Green Goblin's outfit, that's kind of the purple that's on these sticks right here. I love it so much. And she pulled this out, and I opened it, and she was like, I'm so sorry, I couldn't find the Astrobot controller. You know, I know you really wanted it and everything. And I was like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it at all. And of course, immediately after that, she opened this, and there it was. And she was like, ah! So that's really, really cool. It's an amazing memory that we're both going to have forever. And we're both going to be using these controllers for quite some time, too. So it's nice that we both got pretty much the same thing. She got the Astrobot controller, and I got this really cool purple one. Now on to some retro things right here. I actually found this copy of Sweetakin. I can't remember how much I paid for it. I'm actually in an Arkansas-based video game group, Retro Arkansas thing. That's where I'm from, where I'm at right now. And I actually met up with somebody who had this for sale, and they were selling it for a lot less than price charting. And it's a freaking beautiful copy, man. And I've never played this game before, but I've heard really good things about it. It's in this multi-disc case, but there's only one disc for this game. I don't know why they decided to do a much larger case, but this right here, there's no place to even put a disc. It's just kind of there, but the manual is crispy clean. I don't even want to pull it out. It's so beautiful. But I figured with the remasters or remakes or whatever the hell they are that are coming out in the new year, this would be an interesting game to tackle on the original PlayStation. So I picked this one up recently, very, very recently, a couple days ago actually, because it looked interesting. This is Perfect Weapon on the PlayStation 1, and I believe this is made by ASC Games. I've never heard of them before, but that's apparently what this is. I think it came out in 1996. It says the ultimate battle is the one you fight alone. 4 lethal alien attackers can gang up on you using first and only behavioral artificial intelligence. Take on 20 merciless alien species with over 100 martial arts moves. Explore over 1,300 rendered environments across 5 hostile worlds. Camera angles move as fast as you do. I've played maybe 15 minutes of this game, and thus far, none of that is true. This is an awful game. I have not enjoyed this at all. It's got weird tank controls, but you know, the front cover, it makes you think that it's some sort of fighting game. You know, it looks like it could be a fighting game, but I don't know what the hell this is supposed to be. I picked it up because it was $5, and I figured for $5 I'll take a chance, but now I'm starting to see why it was $5, because that's not a good game at all. I actually picked these next 2 games up at a Goodwill, as a matter of fact, and that's really difficult to believe at this point in time, because as far as I know, Goodwill has publicly stated that they are no longer doing video game things in their stores. They're taking all those video games and putting those on the online auction site, which is probably a smart move on their part, but it sucks for people like me. And I would imagine you too if you're watching this video. But before that completely went into effect, I picked up this game right here. This is Star Wars Dark Forces. Think of it like Doom with a Star Wars skin. That's kind of what it plays like so far. I'm really enjoying what I've played of it. It is a little clunky, of course, but it's a really unique game, and it says Custom PlayStation Edition on the front cover. I guess this was probably on the PC because it is made by LucasArts. But yeah, it's a really cool game to add to the PlayStation collection, and I'm glad that I got that one. The next one is Die Hard Trilogy. I'm not really a huge fan of the Die Hard games or the Die Hard movies, really. I haven't really been caught up on that stuff, but this was cheap enough and in decent enough condition where I was like, yeah, I'll grab that. So we've got Die Hard, Die Hard 2, Die Harder, and Die Hard with a Vengeance, which I would assume follows the storyline of the movies. I haven't really jumped into this too much at all, to be honest, but maybe I'll give it a go. Okay, now we're getting into some heavy hitters, which is something that I basically never get. I'm not that kind of collector. I don't go for like the super expensive games, but I was with Adam Koralik, probably the biggest Dreamcast YouTuber on the internet, and we just happened to find some really cool Dreamcast stuff. And you know, that's good for me, not so much for him, because he's already got everything. He's already collected everything Dreamcast. I'm pretty sure he's got an entire US set of Dreamcast games. He's got all of the variants of the consoles as far as I know, except for, you know, the extremely hard to find ones. And I think now he's really just trying to collect demo discs, which is totally fine by him, but I've got a moderate Dreamcast collection, which you can check out in my full video game room tour video. You can find that up in the card up here if you want to check that out. If you're watching my channel, you should really check that out because I put a ton of time into it. Emily helped me with a lot of the video recording, and it was a lot of fun to make. I've wanted to do that for quite some time. But if you're interested in this video, then you should definitely check out that one for sure. Okay, so the first game, let's save that one for a second. So the first game that I picked up when I was with Adam is Phantasy Star Online. This is version 1. I already had version 2, but I haven't really seen version 1 quite often. And I actually picked up my copy of that version 2 for the Dreamcast when I was a really little kid at Walmart. I remember my mom bought me 2 games while we were grocery shopping. One of those was Phantasy Star Online version 2, and the other one was Toy Commander, and I loved the hell out of both of those games. And you can still play Phantasy Star Online, by the way. I should really work on a dedicated video to that. But it's actually extremely easy to do, and I've been doing it for quite some time with the keyboard. There's a lot of people on there. You would be surprised how many people still play this game online, but this is just such a great condition copy. And I think at this store, somebody must have had a really good Dreamcast collection that they just took to the store and sold everything, because they did have a sports Dreamcast for sale as well. But this particular copy comes with not only the game disc, but when you flip it open, there's also a demo disc for Sonic Adventure 2. And on the back of the manual, it sure enough says Sonic Adventure 2 coming 2001. Super, super cool to find this in such good condition, and I think it was like 20 bucks, man. It wasn't that expensive, and I'm super glad to have it. Next thing that I picked up that was kind of odd is the Cheats and Codes Volume 1 for Dreamcast games. This is like a boot disc for your Sega Dreamcast, and it comes preloaded with a ton of different cheats and stuff like that, you know, Game Shark type codes and whatnot. But that's not the reason that I wanted it. I actually had this back in the day, but for some reason, either by moving or, you know, just natural occurrences, I lost it. And, you know, it's not expensive or anything. I think I paid $6 for this, but the purpose for this particular disc is not just for cheats, but it's a great way to boot games that are not in your region. For example, Japanese Dreamcast games. You can't boot a Japanese Dreamcast game on an American Dreamcast. It just doesn't work like that. It's kind of region locked in that sense. But what you can do is use this and treat it like it's a boot disc, and then it will boot whatever game that you want. We used to have to do this back in the day when we burned Dreamcast games way, way back, like freaking 20 years ago. But I just saw it, and it was in such perfect condition, and I was like, wow, I used to have this, and it looked exactly like this in great condition, and then it got lost. But for, you know, $6, I figured, why the hell not? It's in great condition, and the disc is in good condition too. For a Dreamcast game, that's huge. And I'm assuming this came from the same collector. This is the heavy hitter game that I bought while Adam was down here. Skies of Arcadia for the Sega Dreamcast. One of the heavy hitters for the system, highly coveted game for the Sega Dreamcast. It's an RPG, and it's a beautiful one at that. It's super unique. It's got a really unique story and setting. You're air pirates, essentially, flying through the skies on an airship. It's super cool, unique concept. And this is a 2-disc game, and they fit it in a jewel case. And on the back of the manual, we've got an advertisement for Phantasy Star Online. So for me, man, this is just a lot of nostalgia. And of course, I had to pick it up because it was at a really, really decent price. This is a 2-disc game, by the way, and it opens up kind of like this. You know, you got the red disc 2 back there and the blue disc 1 right there. It's super, super odd to see a game like this, but some of them back in the day used to do this with the multi-disc games. I guess they did that to save on the costs for like some of the bigger jewel cases or whatever. But Skies of Arcadia, it's a legendary Dreamcast game. They did a reboot of sorts on the GameCube, and a lot of people say that that's the better version to get, but I prefer to get it on the Dreamcast because that's my console of choice. This is a really cool 3D printed sign that, you guessed it, Emily got for me for Christmas. And she already got me one that's Dreamcast based, Dreamcast related. And you can see both of these in my big video about my video game room tour. But this is a USB cable that's plugged into this, and basically you just plug it in, and it's got a switch right here, and you turn it on and it lights up really nice and pretty. So I've got this one on my desk. The Dreamcast one is on the other side of the room over there with my retro corner on top of my PVM. It's just a really cool, you know, decoration, novelty that just kind of makes your collection look a little cooler. And these aren't expensive at all. I can post a link to these in the description to show you where she got these. She got these on Etsy. Somebody actually made this. And there's all sorts of different designs for different consoles and stuff like that too. And I might grab one just for another part of my house, just because I think they are really cool. Okay, moving on. So we have a PlayStation 1 in front of us right now, but that's not what I picked up. I've had this console for quite some time. This is the original PlayStation 1, but I just wanted to make you guys aware of a modification that was done very recently in this PlayStation. So there's an ODE, optical drive emulator, called the XStation. All that means is that you take the old disk drive out of your console, which admittedly is aging. It's getting older. It's not going to run forever. You're not going to be able to rely on those disks forever because of the disk drive failing. The laser goes bad. There's moving parts in there that need to be either replaced or maintained, and a lot of times that's easier said than done. These things are very, very old, and it's not like you can go to the store and buy a new one anymore. So I'm a big fan of ODEs just for that reason, for the convenience of it. I can play my PlayStation 1 games off of an SD card inside of the system. I've had that mod in this console for quite some time. That's not what I want to talk about. I paid $25 for a mod that lets you go back to your main menu with the press of a button combination on your controller. So the XStation is one of the few ODEs that does not have that feature built in, meaning that if you are playing a game on your PlayStation with that ODE and you want to go back and pick another game, you have to physically get up and go over to the console and power cycle it or reset it. So this modification that I got allows you to just press a simple button combination on your controller and boom, you're right back into that ODE menu and you can select whatever game you want. So essentially I just paid 25 bucks to be extra lazy, which is fine by me. That's an easy thing to do. Yeah, I'll spend 25 bucks so I don't have to get up every time I want to change a game or something like that. This was installed by the same gentleman who installed my XStation. His name is Cody. Now, if you've been watching my channel and seeing all the mods and stuff that I've done, or had done rather, on these consoles, then you'll know about Cody. He's my saving grace. He's my angel up in the sky, rescuing me from potentially screwing up my consoles forever. I'm the world's worst solderer, and he's actually a genius at that, and he's done so many mods for me. I've been talking to him recently. I'd really like to get him on my channel to talk about some mods and do like a beginner soldering video for those who might want to start doing some retro mods on their consoles. But super big thanks to Cody for hooking me up with that modification and quite frankly getting it done in like a day. He's super reliable. He's a great guy. He's super nice and he's very understanding. And I'm grateful to have a guy like him in my life to help me with my screw-ups. Last on the table here, we've got some vinyl, which I know is not technically video game related, but most of this is, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But first thing, Emily got me the Spirited Away soundtrack. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of anime. I'm really not. I don't really dig it that much, but this movie is part of my childhood. I remember when it came out, it was like the highest grossing animated movie of all time at that time. I just love the soundtrack so freaking much. It's the most beautiful music you've ever heard in your whole life, and if you've not seen the movie, I highly recommend that you do so. And if you haven't listened to the soundtrack and you're not interested in the movie, then you might want to do that as well. But this artwork is just freaking gorgeous, man. And I think that's really one of the things that I enjoy about the vinyl records the most. Yeah, the audio quality is vastly superior to the MP3s or even, you know, playing it on Spotify or whatever, but the artwork is so freaking cool, man. And this is a Japanese copy, by the way. She got this shipped from Japan. She likes me a lot, which I'm super grateful for, but I just love the compositions in this. They're heavily inspiring. And I did a harp guitar arrangement of the One Summer's Day tune by Joe Hasashi, one of the most brilliant Japanese composers ever, and I'm super glad to have this. So now we're going to take a short break from the pickups that Emily got me and actually look at some stuff that I bought for myself. So I couldn't help myself when I noticed that this was on sale. This is the Castlevania Rondo of Blood soundtrack on vinyl, and it is freaking gorgeous, man. So there are two LPs inside of here that are double-sided, of course, and this is double-sided as well. So when I flip this and get it upside down there, you can see both artworks on either side. So this is, of course, a Japanese-only game that was called Dracula X Rondo of Blood in Japan, and we just call it Rondo of Blood over here. And it's an incredible game, one of the best Castlevania games out there in my opinion. I think it's probably the best Castlevania game, period. Castlevania Symphony of the Night, which of course we did get on the PlayStation 1, but this is also a super gorgeous vinyl record right here. And what I love about these is that the vinyl records inside are actually colored. They're solid red, which is super fitting for the Castlevania theme. But I really love this kind of stuff. And yes, vinyl's cool in a big way, and it's coming back in a big way, and it is kind of a pain in the butt to deal with because you have to physically get up and turn the records and stuff like that and maintain them and keep them super clean. Don't let a bunch of dust and grime get to them. But you know what? I'm trying to stay away from being on my phone so much, and I listen to music on my phone. You know, I would much rather spend my time being in the real world. So I really enjoy vinyl for that reason as well. When you get up on a Saturday morning and you want to clean up the house a little bit, do some laundry, do some dishes, you got a decent sound system and a vinyl record player, it's cool. Just throw something like this on. It's a great soundtrack to listen to no matter what you're doing. But I really enjoy that. Two more gifts from Miss Emily for Christmas. She freaking hooked me up this year, guys. This is Panzer Dragon, the remake that came out a few years ago, actually. Now, this is the soundtrack for that game, and my God, still, that artwork is freaking gorgeous. Ghost of Tsushima, the soundtrack. And this is still a gorgeous, well, little piece of artwork that just came out there. I guess this is some sort of like poster or something. No, so this is the track list and everything. And this is like a really unique Japanese looking art thing. And on the back of that, you can see it says Ghost of Tsushima. One of my favorite games ever. And by far, in my opinion, it is the most gorgeous game on the PlayStation 5, still to this day. If you haven't played it, you're really missing out, and you totally should. There's just one record in this vinyl set right here. There's one record and it's double-sided, but still. I'm super happy to have all this vinyl to add to my collection. It's growing, and it's always nice to be able to pull something down from the shelf and just vibe with that experience for a while. Super big thanks to Adam Koralik for coming down here and doing some YouTube stuff with me. I just started the YouTube thing in 2015, and I've slowly started getting into the video game stuff, and he's been like a big inspiration to me. So you never know. If you want to do some stuff with a fellow YouTuber, just reach out to them, because that's exactly what I did. And turns out he was supposed to be coming to Arkansas anyway because he wanted to do some footage on the Bill Clinton Presidential Library. So it actually worked out. It was very strange. I mean, I sent him an email and he was here a week after that. But we did a lot of cool stuff together. There's a couple of videos on my channel if you want to watch that. But there you have it. These are my video game pickups. And who knows when I'm going to be doing another one of these. I don't do it every month like Adam does. But I really appreciate you guys for watching. Thanks so much for subscribing. And be sure to check out some more of the other videos that I've got in the description below. That'll surely keep you entertained. Thanks for watching, guys. And I'll catch you at the next video. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.